लास्टमा क्या लास्टमा ल we'll have a 3-minute of musical break and then we'll start our interview.
It's your show, my man.
Yeah.
I'm the guest.
नमस्कार स्वागत गर्न चाहन्छु सम्पूर्णलाई हेर्दै हुनुहुन्छ कल कान्तिपुर 5 to 6 एन्ड यस तपाईले मलाई सिंगल फ्रीमा देखिरहनु भएको छ भने पक्कै पनि आज निकै नै स्पेशल रहेको छ एन्ड इट्स अ भेरी बिग डे फर मी आई थिंक मेरो 5 years जर्नी इन कल कान्तिपुर एन्ड लाइक त्योभन्दा पनि बढी जर्नी एज अ मिडिया पर्सन आई थिंक दिस इज द बिगेस्ट डे जहाँ चाहिँ म एउटा बिगेस्ट पर्सनालिटीसँग चाहिँ एउटा इन्टरभ्यू गर्न गइरहेको छु सो त्यसको लागि चाहिँ एकैछिन प्रतीक्षा गर्नु होला बिफोर द्याट विल गो फर द सर्ट म्युजिकल ब्रेक एन्ड विल बी ब्याक विथ that personality and talking more about boxing, right? So talking about today's guest. Okay, so as a guest, मैले उहाँलाई केही हप्ता अगाडि भेटेको थिएँ and I've been waiting for him since really long time. उहाँसँग कुराकानी गर्न खोजिरहेको थिएँ मैले. So yes, talking about the guest, he is 2-time world champion and 1-time. सबैले चिन्नु भइसक्यो होला. So Keith Thurman is in the house. So Keith, welcome to the show.
Happy to be here.
Same here, Keith. So, yes, being a 2-time champion, I met you the very first time and shaking hand with you, it was a privilege for me and I was connecting you, the vibration, the energy was really great. So how did you feel to be in a first time in Nepal television?
Just happy to be here. It's an honor. Namaste to all of Nepal. It's wonderful to be back in Kathmandu. I got married here 9 years ago to my Nepali wife. So we have some history. I returned on family vacation. I brought 3 children with me this time, so it's been a journey in my life. And Nepali people, Nepali culture, Nepali food, you know, you guys have that tourist attraction. And it's just beautiful to be here once again and be on this family vacation. This is a very critical time. I had a match in US and I was able to have a lot of downtime right now. I wanted to make the most out of that and come here, be with the family, let the Nepali family of mine that haven't seen my children in person, and I have a newborn baby boy. He will be doing his rice feeding ceremony this month. So we planned all this and we're just making it happen, and that's why I'm happy to be here.
So yes, we are happy to have you. So Keith, many athletes train their bodies, right? So, but you're also spoken about training with mind and spirit. I really like that actually. It's a mind and spirit connection, right? So how important has spiritually been in your journey as a fighter and as a human being?
Yeah, you know, when it really comes to spirituality, it's been a part of my life from a very young age. You know, I grew up in a Christian household with my mother back in the United States. So I was raised in the church, and at a young age, I just was raised to have this love for God. But of course, we all grow a little older, we become teenage, and it's like, why go to church? Why go to temple? Why is my mom making me do this? You know, my dad making me do these things, you know? And you start to question life and the surroundings. So at a certain time, my mom said, if you don't feel like going to church, you don't have to. And you know, a lot of my friends weren't in church, so I stopped going to church. But in my own personal life, around the age of 19, I found this calling to just study world religions.
Okay.
And that was the first time that I picked up the Bhagavad Gita. That was the first time that I learned about Tibetan Buddhism. And you guys have beautiful statues of Guru Rinpoche.
Okay.
Right? So Padmasambhava Guru Rinpoche. In my home puja room, I have a tanka from 9 years ago that I bought in Tamil.
Okay.
And
Thanga.
Tanka,
okay.
yeah. And so my puja room, my meditation room back in the US, I have Rainbow Light Body, Guru Rinpoche Tanka. That is at the center of my puja room, along with my guru, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar, who I've been working with personally for the past 4 years, doing the Art of Living programs. I do his Kriya mostly daily, Sahaj Samadhi meditation. And about once or twice a year, I do the silence courses. They're short vipassanas. They're not a strict 10-day vipassana. They're 3-day vipassanas. So in the past 4 years, I've done 8 of these vipassanas.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I think
it's been a journey.
हामी नेपालमै बसेर पनि यति धेरै ध्यानहरू गर्दैनौँ होला सो बिङ इन नेपाल किड राइट सो अ कन्ट्री डिपली कनेक्टेड विथ स्पिरिचुअलिटी एन्ड सेल्फ डिस्कभरी राइट सो वाट डज द प्लेस लाइक नेपाल मिन टु यु पर्सनली
You know,
because we see like lots of temples over there.
Yeah.
We can hear like in the morning we see prarthana, we see bhajan. We heard that
Aartis
from
are going
different
on.
temples. And how does it feel personally?
You know, it's very interesting because 9 years back when I first came to Nepal, you know, I came here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to show face to my wife's family.
Okay.
You know how the Nepali people can be. She's marrying foreigner. Who is this guy? You know, and it's like, don't worry, we will get married in Kathmandu. I'll meet all your family, and I want to show them that this is the one that we have love marriage, and I will be taking your daughter to America and building a family. So what brought me here was the love for my wife and the respect for her family and wanting to get their blessings, wanting to have that real approval of this marriage, you know. And I also knew that it would probably be a little bit more interesting to get married out here than US.
So how do you find the Hinduism? You married in a Hindu way, right?
Yeah.
So how does it feel?
No, it was beautiful. Uncle's house, Mama, was over here in Banisore. He has a beautiful home. He is business owner. He has restaurants in Japan, curry restaurants. That's how her family started to move to Japan. She was in Japan at the age of 19. At 25, when she was 25, I met her in Japan. And I went initially for vacation, was falling in love with her, came back for my birthday, picked her up, took her to the Maldives, went back to Japan, had to come to US, defend my world title. I won that match. And then I came back to Japan the third time. I proposed.
Wow.
You
proposed?
Of course I proposed. What is a man supposed to do?
Does she know like you were the boxer and you fight, you come back sports, you're into that? Does she know like before?
Even when I took her to America, she just never could comprehend this, what it means to be champion, this and that, you know. I fell in love with a person. She fell in love with a person, you know.
Not a boxer.
And not a boxer, you know. She can care less about boxing. She still really doesn't care about boxing.
I've heard a lot about that. When you lost a match, she said, that's just a game. She said that, right? To you?
Yeah.
Back in then.
But
you got pissed off at the beginning.
But what she said was it actually helped. I didn't like hearing it at first.
True, very true.
I didn't like hearing it at first, and that was me, a man's ego, a man's pride, you know. Even at that time, 2019, when I finally lost my world title, I was disconnected from these meditation practices, from the Buddhism, the Hinduism, and the Sanatan Dharma. So it was, and I went through this deep depression, you know, from being at the king of the industry, ranked number 1 at the top, you know, and having all this personal success. And it's not about the money, you know. When you work hard to have something and your name to be this big name, you know, somehow I felt like this balloon got popped, you know. And it was really more my personal pride, and it was just hard for me to pick myself up. But in time, you know, there's an old saying that time heals all.
True, very true.
And it can be uncomfortable to go through these stages, but the stage that I'm at in life now, working with my daily meditational practices, everything feels different. When I first come to Kathmandu, you know, my Nepali friends back in Florida, somebody told me, you like meditation, you know, we know you like meditation, so you should go to Shivapuri Baba. There's this guy, Shivapuri Baba. I didn't know who this guy was. He says, he has samadhi. It's near airport. I just remember him telling me this. Then when I come, I talked to some of my wife's family, and they said, yeah, I went one time. It's a very nice place. So I started going like 3 days in a row. Every morning, I would just go to Shivapuri Baba and sit there in that meditation in silence and start my day meditating in that samadhi room. You know, so like you were saying, this time, this trip, I can feel this culture. I can feel that Sanatan Dharma because I'm more connected with my journey, with my guru. My family, we went to Lingam Bhairavi, and for Arti, there was full moon Arti, music, bhajans, everything was, very nice energy, So I travel, I respect all gurus, I respect all paths, But of course, my love and as a bhakta is so much devotion from my guru, Sri Sri Ravi Shankar.
Okay. So have you been to Pashupatinath, the night, bhajan, arati and everything? Have you been there?
I haven't gone this trip with the family.
Okay.
But last time, Arti was my favorite place to go.
Okay.
Especially Monday night and different times.
Very devout like Shiva in Monday.
Yeah, Shiva, I just enjoy any form of devotion, whether it's bhajans or arti. We just got back from Pokhara.
Okay.
You've been wanting to sit with me.
Yeah, I've been waiting since like 3 weeks.
You know how it is, we go to Bhutol.
Okay.
My mother-in-law has house in Snow.
Okay.
And then we come back and then we go to Pokhara and I was with
You've been
my
traveling a lot.
Yeah, I was at Gurudam here, my friend's guru, and I did a 6-day course. Wow. So those 3 different trips, I've been busy. Now we're finally back, and it's easy to be here and sit down and have.
So that's the energy is so positive with you whenever I meet you, right? So talking about have there been any moments in your life when spiritual practice helped you more than a physical training before visiting Nepal?
I mean, for me, just meditation has always been like the first thing that I discovered in life, I was reading about Buddhism, I was reading about Hinduism, and then one day I said, this is not something to read about. This is something you have to participate.
Feel about.
You have to participate, right?
Okay.
So if Buddha meditate enlightenment under the tree and you're in the book, where's your enlightenment, right?
Okay.
Right? So at that time, I just allowed myself to learn simple meditation techniques. And when I reflect at those early stages, I was learning about, there was this Thai Buddhist monk, famous, not Thich Thon, I believe is his name. Sometimes I have problems pronouncing it.
Yeah,
but he was nominated for Nobel Peace Prize. Very nice monk, right? He wrote many books. First book I ever read of his was called Living Buddha, Living Christ. So from my Christian background, I really enjoyed this literature that he wrote. And in it, the foundation was that mindfulness practice. So at that time, as I was meditating, the mindfulness, in sports, it always takes concentration, right? To hit a golf ball, if you are not focused, if you do not have good base and fundamentals, right, you're gonna miss, or you're gonna hit it all over the place, right? So you need a concentration. You need to control your breathing, right? I mean, the famous sport for you guys is cricket, right? Cricket, right?
I like boxing too.
Well, historically, right?
Actually, talking about the history in Nepal, it's football.
Soccer?
Yeah, football used to be a huge craze, huge fan following. But in recent days, yes, cricket, we are in a World Cup.
Yes.
Right, so that's why cricket craze is there. But still, people love football. World Cup is coming in soon, right? So Keith, I'm taking a short break for now. And we'll be back to talk more about the journey to become 2-time champion and everything. So let's go for the short break and we'll be right back.
This is live.
Where is your mic? No, not that one. The box. So you gotta take that off because we're getting a bit disturbed. Because that we have to take a short break. Yeah, you just put it like this, outside. Just like this.
Over this?
Yeah.
Okay. That
so you went to all over the Nepal.
Yeah, I mean last time I was Chitawan.
Sisidai, ठीक छ अब?
Chitawan and.
Can you check the mic? Can you check?
Hello. Mic check. 1 2 1 2.
Okay. Okay, we are live in TikTok, right? So I forgot that. So sorry, guys. I was so much into this connecting with you. So we have we are in live in TikTok, right? So it's here. Uh, they are like I forgot that like we are live in TikTok, right? So yes, स्वागत छ यहाँ सम्पूर्णलाई. Kasam Nepal, Sudit bhai, how are you? How's Keith? So he's doing great. I'm doing great, right? So Khatra boxer raisa. You know what does that mean?
No.
It means like you're a kick-ass boxer.
They know.
You're a
they
great,
know.
yeah.
It's one time, baby.
Yeah.
They already know.
Somyuk says, how are you boys? We're doing great. And we have a two-time world champion.
You know, I'm happy to see, you know, this, the boxing fans here in Nepal. You know,
We have a crazy fan.
even 9 years ago, when I was here as the champion, I went around to different gyms, you know, speaking to different amateur programs and things of that nature.
So people are thinking like you're the singer. Because the show is basically a live show where we play songs and, you know, we call a musician a singer and you're the first boxer, I call you, right? Then they got confused.
It's a different sound and it's a different dance, you know, but it's all entertainment.
So yeah, let's talk about your the things, you know, just as said, like you've been traveling all over the Nepal.
Yeah.
So which is your favorite place?
You know, I mean, Pokhara, lakeside, it's as soon as you get to the lake, you know, it feels like home because I'm from Florida. There's many lakes, palm trees, the Gulf of Mexico, which is now the Gulf of Americas. Thank you, Trump, for that, I guess, you know. But I just like that tropical feel.
So have you been to Darbar Square in Kathmandu, Bhaktapur, in Patan?
Is last time the family hasn't been, you know, with the 3 kids this time, it's a little bit different, you know. I mean,
I think Max Tice lives there around Mangalore तिर के आउनु भएको छैन. So you should come there like once, at least once in
Dunbar
the
Square?
morning. Yeah, Darbar Square.
Yeah,
it's a very cultural place. Like, even like where I live, everybody says like leave from there, you sell that property, you just go somewhere else. But I feel like I love to live there because I'm surrounding the very positive vibes, you know. In my one side there's a Krishna Mandir, in another side there's a Bhairab, in another side there's a Bangla. They're all over the God place, you know. So you will love that place, I think. If you love the God.
Yeah, I've been wanting to visit Krishna because there's so much Shiva in Kathmandu, right?
Yeah.
It's Shiva, Shiva, Shiva.
And I devote to Shiva. I really devote to Hanuman.
Yes.
I listen to Hanuman Chalisa 24/7, you know.
Okay.
I just feel like whenever I listen to that, I feel very calm.
That's,
there was a time
that's
like
on my to-do list when it comes to learning mantras. It's Hanuman Chalisa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we'll be live on TV, right?
No problem.
All right, welcome back after that short break, right? So here is a call Kantipur 5 to 6, and yes, we have a guest, 2-time world champion, Keith Thurman, 1 time, right? So how comes your name 1 time?
Yeah, the name 1 time is very interesting. I turned pro at 19 years old, and I was able to start my professional career with 8 consecutive first-round KOs and TKOs.
Yeah.
Right? But in that first year, I didn't let anybody give me a nickname. I remember one time before the fight, the announcer said, you know, and here is Keith KO Thurman. And I'm walking out like, who told him KO? I'm like, man, I did not say that name. You know, I didn't say that name. And you can give your name, like fighters give themselves nicknames from their pro debut.
True.
But for some reason, it didn't feel natural to me. And after I had all these knockouts in my second year, I said, look, Keith, you can call yourself whatever now. You're knocking everybody out. Whatever you want to call yourself, they're going to deal with it, you know? And my father, he gave me a very interesting story back in the day. And they used to do some street brawling. And they take the T-shirt and rip it and wrap it around their hands.
We saw that too much in like Hollywood movies, right?
Yeah.
Van Damme and everyone.
Do you know Kimbo Slice?
No.
So Kimbo Slice was a YouTuber. He was a backyard brawler.
Okay.
They used to put up some money and they used to fight each other.
Okay.
So
Basically a street fight.
It was some type of very slightly organized street fighting, right? And I didn't understand what my father used to tell me, but when I started to see Kimbo Slice, I remember that story and I was saying, well, maybe my dad was doing something like this, right?
Okay.
And he used to get him with a good body shot, and his friend called him one time, right?
Okay.
So my name is Keith Thurman Jr., right? And my son is Keith Thurman the third. So my father is senior, I am junior, and my boy is now the third, right? So I thought to myself, I already carry his physical name on my legal documents. Why not just take that nickname too?
Oh, wow.
And so that's when I became Keith One Time Thurman. But my father says I took that name to a level he never dreamed of.
Okay, so that's very interesting, right? So, but talking about in life of a boxer or any fight, combat sports, or cricket or football, but the football, cricket is a team game, but boxing, combat sports is a single man show, right?
Yeah.
So every boxer, every combat fighter needs a very good coach.
Yeah.
It depends on the coach. So I have heard some stories about your coach as well. So it was, I got a goosebumps whenever I think about it, like the way you like come back from that journey, from that story. So please tell something about your coach.
Yeah, you know, some things in life, they really feel unreal, you know. And now that I'm 37, you know, I'm not an old man, but I have enough years in my journey to really look back. And my coach, I found him at 7 years old.
Wow.
So in America, we have this thing associated with our school system. I was raised by my mother. My mother and father were split, right?
Okay.
So I was raised in a single parent household, and my mother worked from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So when school was finished, she could not pick me up from school.
Okay.
So I stayed in what's called an after-school program. We had a YMCA after-school program. This was my elementary. I was in a public school growing up, and in that, there was this boxing coach. This coach, he was the head janitor of the elementary school. He was the head custodian and all the maintenance issues, anything, he was the guy. And he had a good relationship with the principal. So he asked at a certain time, can I put on a boxing exhibition and see how many of these kids who have to stay here waiting for their parents would like to participate in a boxing program. And I saw his exhibition, you know, he brought this kid up there. He was really a small kid, you know, and his name was Johnny. Nobody knew Johnny could box. And I remember Johnny hitting the mix with the coach, pa, 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 and then he'd slip, woo, woo, he'd come back up, pa, pa, pa. And it was impressive, you know. And just that moment, I thought, if he can teach this little boy how to fight, he can teach me how to fight.
Okay.
And from the age of 7 to the age of 20, you know, that's when he passed away, 13 years of his life. We had about 91 amateur matches from 9 years old to 19
years.
Those 10 years.
years.
We had about 91 amateur bouts. I was a 7-time national champion in the USA, and I was the Olympic alternate in the 2008. So we competed in 2007 to make the USA boxing team. I lost in the finals. One tall kid, he beat me, and he got to go to China. And when that happened, I made the decision to turn pro.
Professional.
So this man, you know, he believed in me before I believed in me. He told my mother and my father back when I was 14, 15 years old that I'd be champion of the world one day.
Wow.
You know, so we have to respect our teachers and our mentors, you know, and our coaches. You know, there's a lot of, when people are giving back to the children, you know, these people are undervalued in society, in my opinion, right? But there's so many different teachers, tutors, mentors, and it's their way of touching the heart of a child that inspires that child to go be that doctor or go apply for this college or work hard at this sport, you know? there's many different avenues, right? But sometimes it's not our own family. Sometimes it's not even our own friends who are really encouraging us, you know?
It's a teacher.
And for me, it was my coach, man. And I value those years, you know. Now that I understand Sanatan Dharma, I see him, there's first guru is mother and father, but for me, my first guru was
So I would
Getty.
love to ask you one more question, right, regarding this. Like,
Yeah.
Do you talk with God? Do you connect with Him, God?
Bhagwan?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Do you talk with Him?
If I feel the need, you know, I have more guru bhakti, you know. So for me, I feel the connection to my guru, and because I've learned so much through my guru. I've taken initiation into the kriyas. I have this mantra that is very sacred to me, and I'm very blessed. You can look on the YouTube, Guru Dev Talks with Keith Thurman, and you can watch our 13-minute interview. We're sitting just like this. Never met a guru in person outside of a book, right? And for the first time, I'm very down to earth, you know, just by hanging out a little bit, you know. Yeah. And so I'm meeting this man, looking him eye to eye, having this conversation. And just like this, he answered, I asked, he answered, I asked, he answered. But there was another conversation that no matter if you watch that video, you do not get to experience what I experienced that day, you know? And that's darshan, you know? He gave me a conversation of energy. He poured love, unconditional love upon me, not knowing me for no reason, no cause, you know? And I started to see the formless in form through my guru, you know? And it brought so many stories of what a Buddha is, what an enlightening being is, what Christ is, you know? And for that, it's something I'll never forget, and I'm always grateful, and I'm happy to have him as a mentor on the spiritual journey, because what we are trying to do is go beyond Maya, go beyond how life appears to be, you know, and
The perspective has changed.
you know, the five senses, and you know, you party, you have fun, you know, but you feel good one day, you feel bad another day, and there's no centeredness, you know, there's no centeredness. Only if things are going my way, I'm okay, right? As long as everything's going my way, I'm good, right?
Very true.
I don't have to complain about nothing. But the moment things are not going your way, where is your peace? Where is your tranquility? Where is your smile?
Okay.
You know, all that disappears. And
So,
now,
but sometimes I believe from my spiritual journey, right? So I'm not like you, like going everywhere, but yeah, I do believe in God. I do connect with Him. So what I believe is like, for me, the happiness, the real happiness, for me, the smile on my face, is giving to someone. I believe in that. Whenever I help or whenever I do something for someone, a small thing, that makes me happy.
yes,
When I earn so much money, like I'm on this and that, fame, everything, that doesn't make me happy. What makes me happy is definitely when I give something to someone. You know, you give a treat to someone, you feed a dog, that's a small thing, but I feel happy. You know, that's my explanation of happiness.
you know, so somehow you are young but already wise, you know.
Okay.
Gurudev says that the joy of getting, right, is a child's joy,
Okay.
right? Just see children, right? They get something, they're so happy, right? They get something, they're so happy, right? But as you get older, you find joy in giving.
Yes.
The joy of giving.
And that's a beautiful part.
That's the essence of life. When you can shift from me having and understand that this life, you know, is about giving, and then also, what do you have to give? What you have to give and what I have to give is different, and we don't have to compare. You know, what you have to give is enough, right? Sometimes you can give an ear to a friend in need, right? You don't have to give money. You don't have to give food. You don't have to be a philanthropist and give all this money. I don't have money to give. You have your time, right? And you have your heart, and maybe, you know, in the grocery store, you know, you open up the door, you let the Hajarama go first, right?
True, true.
You do
We do
certain
that, we do that.
little small acts,
Yeah.
like you said, it's
Yeah.
these small acts, right?
But that gives you happiness.
And that's what connects us as
Even like
human
treating
beings.
people in a very good way, even they are having a bad day, you treat people like a smile, you know, that's a joy, that's a happiness in life. So talking about, it's all about like your meditation and everything we talk about in this half of our episode. But I really want to talk about the boxing now.
Yeah.
You know, so talking about the boxing, what is one life lesson boxing taught you that has nothing to do with fighting?
You
What
know,
boxing has taught you? With nothing to do with the fighting though.
I mean, it's just the reward of hard work. You know, I was 9 years old running 8 miles, you know? Why? I didn't understand. Coach is like, you need to do this. You need to do this, you know? And I used to train so hard, and even when I would compete, what do I go home with? I go home with a little medal, you know? I go home with some plastic trophy,
A
you
check,
know?
you know?
No check, no
Okay.
money, you know? It was an amateur. Amateur.
Okay,
You
okay.
you just get trophy and medal.
Yeah.
You know?
And a few photographs.
Nobody cares about the amateur kid. You're not famous.
Yeah.
You know, you're not famous, you know? And I just worked really hard, but anything in life, right? You want to achieve something, anything in life requires some form of sacrifice, right? As a married man, I don't hang out with the fellas as much, right? I'm focused on my household, building this
Yeah.
household. And luckily for me, I find joy in this as well, right? But there are phases and chapters in life, you know? So one chapter ends, another chapter begins, and you might not know what's coming, but you stay going. You know, in my career, from amateur to pro to world champion, you know, to now still top contender.
True.
You know, but I just enjoy this process, you know. So you don't just work hard to achieve, you know, your goals, but when you work hard and you make sacrifices, you might not know what is coming, but there's always something positive around the corner. And let's say what you want to happen doesn't happen. There's still so many lessons to be learned in life, you know. And it's because of my status that I was able to even have the interview with my guru, right? It's because of my status that I'm able to meet people like you, you know. And nowadays, you know, of course, 2-time world champion, just meeting me, shaking my hand, you know, it's the smile on people's faces, you know, that I'm able to bring.
It's a huge thing, like to meet a 2-time champion, world champion, and all thanks to Max Tai over there.
Yes.
Right? So we've been connecting since 9 years, and we've been connecting since a few months, but like I felt like I know you since really long time. We connect in the ring, right?
Yes.
So let's talk about everybody talks about your winning, you know, how you win, how you did, obviously you you fought really well, that's how you win. But thing is, that first match you lost with Pacquiao, right? So that was, must be a very bad dream for you. I think your wife, the very first time she came to watch that match.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the very first time your wife
Yeah.
came and like watched that match live, and you lost that match.
Yeah.
The 31st match, 30 match, you've been undefeated champion.
Yeah.
That's crazy, right? That record. But losing that match, how does it feel? Definitely you don't feel good. But if you have to explain and how you overcome with that loss.
Yeah, it was tough to overcome, you know. It actually took many years, you know, because initially you have some negative feelings and some initial depressed emotions. But then even as time went on, you know, that happened in 2019. So then in 2020, it was a COVID year. And that kind of put sports all into a stop too.
Even you got a call to play a match with no audience, right?
Yes.
COVID, I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah, so they called me for a fight, but it felt so lackluster of excitement because I don't just get up for any reason. I get up because of passion. And when they called to fight in LA, it was actually a studio. It would have been like fighting here, you know? They would have set up a ring and there was no fans and they were like, we'll have you fight in the studio because we want to broadcast it. And there was just going to be a broadcasted sporting event with 0 fans.
And you don't like that?
I just fought with 20,000 people in attendance against Manny Pacquiao. The electric, the vibe, you know, just all that energy, the American fans, the Latino fans, and all the Filipino fans, just everybody together screaming and shouting, and I wanted to taste that again. So for that reason, I said, no, thank you. I'm not interested. And little did I know the repercussions of that. So it took even longer before I finally had a comeback match. And in that time, I'm just, you know, soaking in these feelings and these emotions. But eventually, you know, I was able to get out of it. It's just, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes, you know, life hits you harder, you know, but also it's our own stubbornness, you know? And at that time, I think if I reflect properly, what was the problem, right? Because now years have passed and I already lost that fight and years have passed, but I'm still holding on to these negative emotions. What was the real problem back then? And why am I more okay now? Why am I fine? TK, teacher, right? Why can I smile now? I just lost a match 2 months ago. I have a new cut on my eye. And why can I smile today, you know? Because what I learned from the Pacquiao fight was, you know, things don't go the way that you want them to go, but there is a power in acceptance. And until you fully accept what has happened, you cannot move forward another day. The day you accept is the day you can move forward. If you, through your ego, your pride, your anger, your jealousy, your hatred, anything that doesn't allow you to accept what has already happened, then that's a setback, you know, and you will harbor emotional feelings. So now I've learned this power of acceptance that allows me to move forward and smile once again.
Wow, that's a very beautiful thing. And yes, but I was not expecting in that match the way Pacquiao did like 8-punch combination. You talked about that was crazy. That was crazy. I watched that match, right? So anyway, so we're going for the short break, but we'll be live in TikTok. Let's go for the short break, and we'll be back after the short break. So yeah, we'll be live in TikTok. The match was crazy.
Yeah,
with Pacquiao, right? So let's see, like, where is that?
the TikTok feed.
Yeah, TikTok feed is there. A few years ago, he fought with Manny Pacquiao. Everybody's talking about that match.
Yeah,
he's a professional boxer. Is he from UFC? He's not. He is not from UFC, guys. Right? So he's in boxing.
Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao.
So will we be able to get to see you versus Mayweather?
Oh no, man. I mean, he's like doing little international celebrity things and like. He's not trying to compete against any of the young people, you know. He's shifted, you know.
He's more into like a glam world. You can say that?
It's better than like... They call it celebrity boxing these days, right? Because everything Jake Paul did, and even before he retired, Mayweather fought Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
And so I think that matchup against Conor McGregor, that mix of the UFC fighter and the boxer, but that was one of the first major celebrity boxing matches before the Jake Paul and Mike Tyson.
So what do you think, like, talking about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul match? Do you think it's fixed already, or like it's
I don't know too much about this whole fixie thing, you know. At the end of the day, Mike Tyson is very old, you know.
No, why I'm judging like this way, because when I see Mike Tyson in his training The way he was punching, it was
Okay,
wow,
I'm gonna
in that age.
I'm gonna debunk your philosophy right now,
Okay.
right? So, did you ever see Mike Tyson train for 1 hour straight? Did you ever see him train for 10 minutes straight?
Okay.
You saw 20-second clips
Yeah.
over and over and over again. This is how you can promote a match, right? Hey, Mike, come on, get up, give us some action. And then cut. And then they cut it, and then he sits down, he drinks some water again, and you know, it's not the same. You know, they already went and made the match a 2-minute boxing round. It was not a professional 3-minute boxing round, right? It wasn't Mike Tyson's old setup. He's older. If Tyson had to have done 3-minute rounds with a 1-minute rest, it would have favored the young man even more. Jake Paul might not be the greatest boxer, but for over 4 years, he has been training and allowing himself to compete, which means over time, he was naturally getting more skilled, naturally. What did he do? What he did to Mike Tyson is the same thing he tried to do to Anthony Joshua, which was run around the ring and work that jab. Even Anthony Joshua said he did a good job running. So here's a world champion that could acknowledge that when he's moving and moving and moving, he's not easy to catch. And that was a younger champion. It just took Jake Paul time to get tired when he slowed down, when he found himself in the corner, huffing and puffing. He was able to have his jaw broken.
No, I think like in some point, like Mike Tyson is not taking the punches. I felt that in a few points. Like he was clearly like his jab was down, but he's not taking that punch, you know. So that's why I felt like it's rigged, or I don't know, because Mike Tyson is Mike Tyson for us, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
see, that's the thing. You guys want Mike Tyson to be young Mike Tyson when he is old Mike Tyson, you know? And what happens in boxing life, right? Because I've talked to retired fighters, right? They say, yeah, you know, I play around, but when I'm in the ring, I see the punch, but I can't do it.
Okay.
I can't execute. You know,
You get tired.
That fast
get
reflex.
Tired, yeah.
There's a everything slows down from the muscle to the brain. It doesn't respond that, you know. As you get older, it's not so sharp.
So we'll be live on television now. So we have very less time.
Okay,
right? So we can talk up Nepali boxing now.
All right.
All right, welcome back in television, right? So we have a very less time. हाम्रो टिकटकमा सबैजनाले भन्छ प्याकियोसँगको म्याचको बारेमा उहाँसँग कुराकानी गरिरहेको छौँ हामी हैन. So yes, that match was intense. Though like split decision, from split decision you lost that match, right? So after that, the next match you lost against Sebastian
Fundora,
Yeah.
2 months back.
2 months back, and yes, he was tall, but the way he was fighting, it was crazy because he was that 6 foot tall.
6'6".
6'6", that was crazy, and he's 5'7", almost 1 foot difference. But yes, you fought really well, and I can see you were not happy with the referees. In that match. So can we be like see the rematch with him in the near future?
I would love to be back in the ring with Sebastian Fundora, you know, but just knowing his status and different things, I would have to, you know, get back on the winning streak. Put myself back in the good rankings, and I think as long as he remains champion, that we may in the future be able to do a rematch. You know, it's unfortunate. I don't mind losing, but why end the fight so early, right?
Okay.
If I have not been physically knocked down, and you know they just see the damage from the cut and the blood on my face, but when the cut is here, the blood is going down. When the cut is on top of the eyebrow, the blood is going into your eye, which is more of a concern.
Okay.
So for me, understanding the sport, I had less of a concern. If you watch, I was still using my legs. I was circling the ring. He never had me trapped in the corner and you didn't see my head go boom, 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 boom. You know, there are different times where even without a knockdown, the referee will stop the fight. But in this case, it felt premature to me. But you know, it is a sport, and these referees, they have authority. Once he stopped the fight, there's nothing I could do.
But I can say one more thing, guys, right? So I've seen a few matches of Thurman, like past days, like when I met Max Thai, and I used to watch boxing at that time, and I saw a few matches, right? So where like even like commentator and everybody was saying Thurman is gone, one time he's gone there. He came back and he gave a knockout with many boxers. I've seen that matches, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's crazy. So let's talk about Thurman. Like we have very less time.
Okay.
So let's talk about the Nepali boxing scenario, so where like Max Bussin is promoting the professional boxing.
Yeah.
Right. So what do you want to say to all the Nepali boxers out there? So how's the scenario in Nepal?
You know, I think this is a really interesting time right now in Nepali history. You know, compared to when I came 9 years ago and I met my brother Max here, you know, he's been able to do so much. We met in Thurman at the show. You were the commentator.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Thank you so much.
You have the smile. You have the slick hair. You know, suit and tie. You know, everything that I'm used to seeing back in the United States. But you guys had a great show in Thurman. I mean, it just had the
Gorkha
ambiance
boxing,
at the Club Nova, right?
Yeah.
You had the ambiance in Club Nova. People had VIP seatings and different stages upstairs, downstairs, and the energy was good. I think that boxing can grow tremendously in Nepal. It can grow tremendously in a city like this, Kathmandu. And even though it's not boxing, you guys have that rising star.
Ravinder Dad.
Ravinder Dad. You guys
Nepal,
have, you know, and so when it comes from UFC and it comes to boxing, the way that we are similar is we are combat sports. And I think as the more that Ravinder Dad continues to rise on his road and his path to getting to America to fight on the UFC, and you guys promote more boxing, you do some collabs, invite him to support the shows and different things, you know, you have a new government, you know, young people in office, they have this vision of the future, and I just think sports can grow. And I saw the outcome. The Nepali people enjoyed the fight and the fight scene. The fighters have talent and the ability to grow. So I give you guys my blessings for your future and growing the sport of boxing in Kathmandu.
Thank you so much, Keith. It was wonderful having you here. So at the end, so can you show some boxing skit, and we are leaving.
All right.
So you can put that in the pocket.